Well, what is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Mike Goolsby live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel on a Sunday night, talking Notre Dame football. What a glorious time it is. Mike, always enjoy our conversations and talking about another Notre Dame win. So that's good. But yeah, man, looking forward to tonight's show. What's new on your end, man? You have a good weekend?
Yeah. Where else would you rather be?
Right.
Another win, Singer? And do we have more questions as we inch closer and closer to a playoff berth?
I feel like we're like the championship filter has been sitting in the kitchen. And at first we were like outside the house after the NIU game. And then with each win, you step inside the house. Now you're in the living room. And now it's like, I can see it. I can see that championship filter. It's just sitting right over there. And we're about to pick it up. So this is all becoming super real, is what I'm saying, right? Every win, it's like, all right, we're beating up on Georgia Tech and Stanford and Navy and a terrible FSU team in Virginia. We're so close, dog. We're so close. And I think Navy's the number 18 team right now.
That's
and
right.
You go at USC, 5-5 team, not very good team, but it's still at USC. It's like, I feel like it's crunch time now. I know every game, Mike, has been a playoff game since the NIU one, but now it's like here. There's dominoes falling around the Irish. Teams lose and BYU loses. Tennessee falls to Georgia. It's like Notre Dame's up to number 6 in the AP and coaches poll. I don't love those polls, Mike, but they can be indicative of what the playoff committee is going to do a couple days later. So it just seems we're just so close. It's
so
getting
close.
real.
It feels like maybe the mid-season joy is kind of shifted into like late season stress. And like, watching you and Hyde last night, it's like the clunkiness of this offense, the lack of identity, to be honest, like poor quarterback play the last couple weeks. With stuff getting real here, it's like I think it becomes stressful because it's like, well, is the defense going to travel that well? The offense looks very mid against some of these average teams. What's it going to look like up against an elite SEC front?
So last week during the show, you were like hyped up and optimistic as hell, and now you're
still am. But yeah, let's get into it.
But the quarterback, you're not fired up about the quarterback specifically, passing offense in general.
Well, no. I mean, and haven't been. And it's like, can Bo still talk his shit, Singer? Or
no. I love you, Bo, but yeah, you can't talk.
Yeah, so we went from Bo talk your shit to like Bo. Catch the ball.
Love you, Bo. Catch the ball.
Catch the ball. So this is interesting, and I think this is what we'll spend. And it's such a shame to all those young men on the defensive side of the ball that are playing elite level ball, continue to turn the thing over, which is like the last evolution of that defense. It's like, okay, where can we sharpen our sword a little bit more, creating turnovers? We're doing it, and it's contagious. But if you look back at the offensive side of the ball, if you're getting stressed now about the lack of the passing offense, it's like, what did you kind of expect? I love that you and Tim went into the preseason grades because it's like I gave the wide receivers a C, and that was being gentle. And it's like your quarterback was an athlete playing the position. And, Tim said it, like he's kind of the same guy he was at Duke. So it took him 4 games to even be able to like get through his reads. And then really watching the all-22. And I'm trying to stay positive. But last week was bad, Singer.
The FSU game for
it was bad.
For Riley?
Oh, yeah.
What was
I'll do it this week, I promise, hand to God. On Twitter where you can kind of do, Singer's favorite Dolphins moments, a thread. And then it's like you can scroll through a thread. I might make a thread of the missed wide receivers because I could have done so last week, but I was trying to keep it positive. Whereas last week, Riley would start left and then go fast forward to the right. So he wouldn't scan the middle of the field, right? It was either A or C. There was no B. And it was bad, like easy middle of the field throws. And then this week, it was almost seemed like it was a point of emphasis for Denbrock to like make this kid throw the ball between the hashes. So early in the season, it was like the offensive line couldn't hold up in pass protection. Totally understandable. Totally empathize with that group. Offensive line, for the most part, is shored up. I mean, Wagner had his hands full. Schroff looked awful a couple times. Had a rough game this past week. But the offensive line, by and large, pass pro has held up. And now it's like, is it Riley's fault? Is it the receiver's fault? And it's definitely a combination of the two.
Yeah. Okay, so O-line, it's not perfect, but it's improved. So some drops, maybe just the lack of that dog at receiver to make a big play. And then just Riley missing some balls, but you're saying Riley missing reads is the biggest problem, which you don't see on the TV copy.
I mean, like in particular, so I've yet to watch the all 22 of the offense. But like last week, it was like, man, because it hurts to watch, Singer. You know what that end zone copy looks like. It's like you'd freeze frame it and you name the receiver. I mean, they are wide open, but he was going from left to right or from right to left. He was like skipping the middle of the screen, middle of the field. So, but for Riley, it's like, I feel like Singer pass game specific. It's like he needs everything to kind of go right. So the way this game started off with the early drops, I mean, that's not what a kid with his kind of wiring sort of needs to kind of get into rhythm. It's tough.
I've just queued up 5 comments. The chat is just like killing it. These comments, Mike.
I never read
this. This is good stuff. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. KB says, I didn't realize Notre Dame lost. Who knew? KB, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. If you are happy with Notre Dame going 9-3 and playing in the Sun Bowl, God bless you. That's amazing. I wish I was that. Like, then everything from here on out is just gravy, right? Like, oh man, we made a bowl game. Woohoo. But Goolsby and I are not talking about Notre Dame in the filter of beating Virginia's of the world. You should beat Virginia. This is Notre Dame and looking at beating Army, which they should, and beating USC on the road, and then beating that number 3 SEC team, or whatever Notre Dame plays, like a Tennessee or a Penn State or Georgia, Indiana, whatever it is. That's what we're talking about. It's not about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
The title of this show, Mike, analysis of where Notre Dame football stands after Virginia win. It is looking ahead. I am getting a little sick of these run-of-the-mill ACC teams. It's about what is ahead. So that's my answer to you. It's we know Notre Dame didn't lose, but we're talking about what is next. And KB, I'll ask you, do you think that Notre Dame can hang offensively against a much better team defensively than they have seen? I don't know.
The kicker is, I want to interject here. This week against Navy, Riley's going to look great in the passing game. Why? Because they're Navy athletes. They're Army athletes, right? So say what you want about Florida State or say what you want about Virginia. They have better athletes, testers, than a Navy Army. So Riley will probably light it up next week against Army. And then there's the folks, too. It's like, we don't run the ball enough. And I fully appreciate like what Denbrock has been trying to do last 3-4 games. It's like, to your point, Singer, of looking at this thing through a championship lens. There may come a point in time where we get down. Defense loves to give up a score on their first drive. It's like, God forbid we get down 14-10. So these are scenarios. It's like, if you want to just hammer the ball, sure, but what if that gets taken away on any given, like, you got to have different stuff in your bag, as the kids say.
Sure.
So Denbrock continues to try to force the issue. It's like, you got to have some sort of something in the passing game, but we don't at this point. I mean, who's your dude?
Yeah.
Receiver specific. We thought it might be Bo, probably not.
Mitch. I think you tweeted that, right? Like, you think that he's going to be relying on Mitch more and more. They seem to get some
specific
chemistry
to the wide receiver room, but yes.
Yeah. Passing game in general now. Okay. KB says, I don't think they can hang with the SEC defense. So, and then someone else said they already did, KB, but like A&M, did they? Like, do you think 23 points is going to be good enough? It might be in Notre Dame Stadium in December. It might be. I don't know.
And this is, I guess it's tinfoil hat territory.
All right, let's go. He's got 2 hats on, Chet.
I didn't do my hair. So here's where I'm at. And this is through this championship lens, whatever, right? We all wish that Riley was a better thrower of the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all wish you had maybe more elite kind of talent on the outside. But if you look at this team, the team, by the way, Singer, it's a team, right? It's not just offense. It's a team. The greatest team sport there is, football. We all love about it. The way that Marcus Freeman built this team was what, dude? It was defensive recruiting. Remember when we would like really dig into the recruits and it was like, there's another hybrid edge guy, right? It was like we had all this length and all this speed. You couldn't quite figure out what position are they going to slot into, but it was like defensive recruit after defensive recruit after defensive recruit. Freeman knows the kind of team he has. Would Freeman might he know that maybe I don't have like killers on the outside as a receiver? So it's like we tried that last year with Hartman, like a pure thrower of the ball. It didn't work. So now give me this athlete that can just win us games.
Mm-hmm.
Like either that's accidental brilliance. There it goes. Either it's accidental or it was intentional. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Freeman's like, our wide receivers are totally mid. I want a quarterback in the portal. Well, give me this kid that can make something happen.
Yeah, I still would prefer.
We all would.
A quarterback who makes his receivers look better. But, I mean, you can't really argue with the results so far with Leonard. I love watching him play.
I want to say this. I don't want to like dump on our receivers, but this is just casual observations. Like if it's a 3rd and long, right? 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14, whatever. By the time these receivers get to their top of the route, like time's up. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We don't have guys that can just like climb and get a corner to flip their hips. Like we don't have it. Yeah. It's like they're still getting to the top of the route. And Riley's already, he's kind of nervous in that pocket. He's like, man, where are you?
Let me go back to some of these chats, including a super chat from my boy Juicy J. Says, watching Oregon struggle at Wisconsin. How concerning is the travel from New York to LA in back-to-back weekends, Mike? Of course,
yeah,
Army this weekend and then LA. Did you have any experiences like that?
That Army game's probably going to be a physical game. It's a totally different game plan. It's definitely a thing. But at the way this bye set up, we had our bye home game. I think it's about as ideal as you could make it. But I think it's become a thing for the Big Ten. Will it affect us that week? Maybe a little.
Yeah. Did you have any experiences quite like this in your playing days, like that, coast to coast and back to back weeks?
No, not really. Nothing that like coast to coast. I mean, obviously, just going out to LA is like a unique experience in and of itself.
Yeah.
So, and I imagine we'll probably have a great crowd for that game. You know, Notre Dame fans in attendance. Oh, yeah. So it should be a party. I hope it is.
My boy Ross, if you're watching this, him and I got in a Twitter back and forth a few weeks before the Georgia Tech game. And I was telling him, I was like, dude, that Georgia Tech Notre Dame game, he was trying to make an argument with me about how, since it's still in Atlanta, still going to be Georgia Tech fans dominating the crowd. I was like, Nope, because it's at a neutral site. Notre Dame fans are going to be able to flock to that and get as many tickets as they want. Bigger crowd. And Notre Dame ended up being like 60-40. I think it was Notre Dame fans in Mercedes-Benz Stadium or even more. So I mentioned that because, for that the Army Notre Dame game, it's going to be a majority of Notre Dame fans. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
Army Notre Dame, and then again, Notre Dame SC. I think Notre Dame fans will fill up both stadiums. I really do. But back to like the Freeman kind of building this year's team, I think it makes sense. And, Jared Clark, who does the offensive film over on Patreon, and he's kind of tight with Urban Meyer. And he mentioned something that really stuck with me that Urban Meyer used to tell his offenses. 4 as in yards, 4 for the team. So if we're thinking about like, Percy Harvin or like one of those athletes back in the day, Aaron Hernandez, like catch it. If it's a bubble thing, you got to get 4 for the team. If it's any kind of run play, like get 4 and then go nuts. Mm-hmm. Then try to make your highlight tape get on SportsCenter, but just give me 4 for the team. The team needs 4 yards.
Yeah. And
that really stuck with me because when I think about Riley, by the way, quarterback power, it's been completely taken away. It's dead, right? Like we tried to run quarterback power late in that game, and it was just they swarmed it. Like that's on film, clearly. People have been watching Texas A&M. But on any of these given scrambles with Riley, it's like he'll always get you 4. And that's why it kind of works. As clunky as this whole unit is, it kind of works. As frustrating and as maddening as it can be, you were talking about, is it fool's gold? I don't know. Is it fool's gold? Or are we living on a prayer, dude? Like the Bon Jovi fourth quarter light show thing. We're living on a prayer, man. And I even look at like the views on YouTube, like the views are down. Like it feels like people are losing excitement, and we should be, as a fan base, building up steam, brother. You know what I mean? It ain't perfect, but it's okay to get excited about.
Yeah. There are a lot of imperfect teams in this this 12-team playoff. Like Oregon, for being the best team this year, beat Idaho by 10 points. Just struggled to beat Wisconsin. So, Wisconsin, I think, is actually a pretty good 5-5 team. But this is a good year for Notre Dame to do it in terms of make a run with the defense, and knock on wood, the offense really hasn't. I know they did have a turnover, but that was a special teams turnover, right, Mike?
No, Riley threw a pick.
Yeah, Riley threw a pick. That's right. But he hasn't thrown many picks, 4 on the season. The offense takes care of the football. So going back to your point about the head coach, like you get a defensive head coach, let's play good defense and take care of the football kind of stuff. That it's not sexy, but it can get the job done, right? Especially when you get that home playoff game. I just want to see Notre Dame win a playoff game. Can we just get one big win? And I would prefer if they play a notable team. If they end up with like Indiana, is that it, Mike? Is that like, oh, Notre Dame got that big win finally, beating Indiana, even if it's in a playoff game? To me,
oh, interesting.
I think it needs to be
interesting,
a marquee, or if somehow Notre Dame gets to 5, right, and they play Boise. That's just not going to do it for me. I want to see Notre Dame beat an SEC or a Big Ten team, not Indiana, in that playoff game, for it to be like that. That's just me. You guys can disagree, but that's my take.
No, so you're saying if we're going to come to the dance, we're going to kick the door in, right? We want to we want Georgia round 1, right?
I'm saying that for us to be like, man, Notre Dame has not won a big postseason game, right? The New Year's Sixes and the big BCS playoff or big BCS bowl games. Beating Indiana in the 8-9 or like a Boise or something in the 6-11 or 5-12 is not doing it for me. I'll be fired up, but it wouldn't do it for me as much as Notre Dame beating like a Penn State or a Tennessee. I'm curious if the chat agrees with me or not.
Well, I glossed over the rankings, and again, this is just AP, but I'm sitting there going, here it is. Okay, Notre Dame at 6. We're better than Indiana. We're better than Penn State.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, Oregon, and I'm a big like culture guy with programs. Watching that Oregon-Wisconsin game, I think it was like halftime. Oregon's up 6-3. Wisconsin's quarterback might have been like 5 for 13 or something, or 5 for 19 for like 29 or 59 yards, like nothing in the passing game. And here they are hanging around. And Oregon always has the recruits, and they've got the jerseys, and they've always got the thing. Even going back to like the Chip Kelly days, but like they're vulnerable because you can kind of hit them in the mouth. And a team that's constructed like a Wisconsin, that's, like it worked. So I'm like, I came out of that game, I'm like, we could beat Oregon. There's no doubt we could beat. I mean, that the way they beat Ohio State like really kind of struck fear into your heart. But then after watching them play Wisconsin, not so much.
Yeah. And in fairness, you can scroll through Notre Dame's schedule and say some of the same things. If you're an Oregon fan or a Penn State fan, you look and you just point to NIU. Would you disagree?
I get it.
Just playing devil's advocate, I guess.
No, I mean, I thought about that last night. I'm like, man, to me, it's like, in hindsight, the Louisville game, I guess it was a game. It was a big game at the time it was. But like looking back, it's like, yeah, we played one good team.
Since A&M.
Yeah, same thing. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like we haven't been tested. The slow starts are what's maddening to people, and I totally get it.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
John with the $5 super chat says letter grade for Notre Dame offense after Louisville game. So that's Stanford, G-Tech, Navy, FSU, and Virginia. And he said, what grade do you give them currently?
Well, John's a Patreon guy, so we'll get more in depth with it. But over all things considered, what letter grade would you give the offense? A B? B minus? The running back rotation bothers me. The lack of we don't even have like an A player at wide receiver. And like you maybe thought you did in a great house, and now he might have been, sprained his shoulder a little bit. It's just like, you got those 2 running backs, but then we got to get Aeneas Williams his, 20 snaps a game.
I don't think it's quite that much, but it does seem like
he played quite a bit this last game.
Yeah, he might have, because like some of the fourth quarter. I don't know if I don't think we have our snap counts out. But and my whole point about like the name, I would prefer to beat a name brand. I think people are actually agreeing with me, which I didn't expect to be the case. Jay Carr says, haven't won a major bowl in 30 years, can't be picky. I think that's exactly why I want to be picky, because if we're going to finally win one of these, I want it to be against a more of a name brand opponent and not an Indiana or a Boise. But you can just predict what the Tennessee fan and your
but what's your
or whatever.
Who cares?
I get it. I'm just saying.
If you beat Indiana, so be it.
Yeah, I mean it's not a big deal, but
I had another thought while I was
preference.
watching that. We want to make it about Notre Dame, but just real quick on this Oregon thing because it's relevant. Watching that staff, Lanning, I forget the defensive coordinator's got a name, Josh something, and then the offensive coordinator, very young Singer. Very young staff in terms of like coordinators, head guy. And it's kind of a contrast to Notre Dame, at least in terms of the coordinators. I was like, there's something there in terms of that stage that the playoffs are going to present.
Adrian says we started slow because we were behind the chains a lot. Yeah, it was that second, third, fourth, and fifth drives for the Irish was pretty poor. There's no doubt about it. So 4 straight 3 and outs, but.
And you heard it here first. Riley's going to look great against an Army because of the lack of athletes and the time he'll have. His stress level will be down in an Army game. But it feels like we're just kind of biding time until we get to this playoff, or we don't. That's how it feels. Everybody understands the offense kind of is what it is. So like there is no real excitement there other than like, you're hoping for a big play through the air. You're hoping for a big run, but we just kind of matriculate the ball, but it's not exciting.
Yeah.
So we're 36 minutes in, 26 minutes in, haven't even talked about the defense. And that's where you'd like to put the focus and the spotlight is on that side of the ball.
Defense wins championships and the offense sells tickets. Interstate Stan with $5 super chat. How about Boise first round and Alabama second round? Yeah, if you could beat Alabama in the second round, that I would love that. That'd be great. But I don't think Alabama is going to get a first round bye because you would play one of the if Notre Dame gets Boise, they would be in the 5-12 most likely, and then you'd play the 4 seed next. So I don't know. If Notre Dame could somehow get to the 5, Mike, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing because then you beat Boise, and then the game after that is going to be like Miami or Colorado or BYU. It's interesting. SMU.
You know me, I gotta wait till we see it. Etch it in stone, and then we'll talk about it.
Boise,
because I'm like, because if we're 5, there isn't a chance that you could be playing a Georgia-Bama round 1 versus getting a Boise. I mean, is that if we're 5, is that etched in stone? This is who you're playing now. Could that change in the coming weeks?
Yeah. Boise could move up, so it could be like a Colorado or something in the 12, but still. If they could get to 5, that'd be great.
I just want to say, with that defense and with your little Swiss Army knife, uber competitor and Riley Leonard, it's like I think any of those teams are beatable. I really, really do. Georgia scares you, Alabama scares you just because. But then I was sitting there thinking, like, Al Golden would put Jalen Milroe in a blender, dude. Yeah. He would know what's going on, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So as much as Alabama kind of scares you just because, it's like when you really sit there and think about it, Tennessee's quarterback, get real, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Tom says we can't get 5, maybe 6. Yeah, I think it'll be 7 or 8. I was like 9. I was like, maybe 9. But now I feel a little bit more optimistic.
Not knowing anything about anything, I've always said 8. I was just like, we're going to get 8.
Tim's been preaching that since, I was 10 years old, that Notre Dame would be the 8 in the 2024 season. So, Mike, let's talk about one of our favorite things, and that's home field apparel. With Notre Dame just 2 wins away from the college football playoff, got to get geared up as quickly as possible and as best as possible. And the way to do that is with Home Field, the premium collegiate apparel brand based in Indianapolis. You guys know that Goolsby and I love the clothing. We talk about it every week. You get that brand new stuff without the retro Okay, you get the retro look without the retro tears or smells. Come on, Singer. How many times have you said this and you still mess it up? Home Field's rolling out all new stuff all the time, including a really unique, this coach's campus pullover, and you got the coach's jacket in here. As well. Close fit, great, very comfortable, highly recommend. Head over to homefieldapparel.com, check out their entire Notre Dame line. If you have friends that are fans of other schools, Home Field has licensed clothing for over 180 colleges. So I think when you just go to the website, homefieldapparel.com, the offer is like 10% off. Well, with the code BGI, that's good for 15% off your first order at Home Field. Again, folks, code BGI for 15% off your first order at Home Field. Check it out and gear up for the rest of the Notre Dame football season. I was rocking this Notre Dame Fighting Irish Football retro long sleeve this week, and I don't rock it as well as the model here, but I looked good in this shirt. This was a cool shirt. Got a lot of compliments on this thing. So homefieldapparel.com. Check it out.
Wearing it tonight.
Looks good.
Yeah, man.
Looks good. Pilney35, he says, my fear is that Notre Dame's kicking game and
let's talk about
dysfunctional
that.
passing game will be exposed if we play Ohio State or Georgia or Bama. Notre Dame is a one-and-done team in the CFP. Good, but not great. Hope I'm wrong. Go Irish.
Do we have a kicker? Or do we have 3?
I don't understand what is going on with Mitch Jeter. Mike, I say this all the time. You're healthy enough or you're not. If you're not healthy, don't play. If you're healthy, play. I don't know why he's just like doing PATs. I think let me double check.
I read this somewhere, Singer. He's 80% healthy, but he's only cleared to kick like 25 and in. So that extra 20% of unhealthiness, if you make him kick a 38-yarder, he's going to go back down to 0% healthy. But somebody get that kid a hyperbolic chamber or a multivitamin or something.
Right, how about this? He kicked the first 4 PATs, but Yoakum did the 5th.
Get him.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, but this team is imperfect in a way that only Notre Dame could be. The defense is stellar. The offense is clunky, and the special teams is hit or miss. It's hit or miss. Like, it was all over the map. You had the punt return, but it wasn't. Jack Kaiser wasn't under center, so it wasn't allowable. Turnover on. We had, we traded turnovers in terms of punt returns, but the kicking thing, Tim talks about all the time. Shit, man, if we win a playoff game, it's going to be what? 23-20. He says it all the time. It's going to be a grind out 23-20. I agree. But if you don't have a kicker to get you those 3 little points, it's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
It's concerning. And then just again, I tell you, in terms of the passing game, Riley is what he is, and the wide receivers are what they are. Shame on all of us for getting all hyped up in the offseason. This year was going to be different.
Shame on all of us. Just at me, Goolsby.
Shame on you, Singer, leading all these folks astray. Because even when you were doing that quick game stuff, we don't have dudes that can put their foot in the ground and just go. Like all these other teams, not all these other teams, but these higher end blue blood teams, they've got dudes, get them in space, make a guy miss. It's a 12-yard gain. Ours are 4.
Faison Harrison, though. Harrison, you liking him? Like I say this a lot. Every week, it's a new receiver. A new couple of receivers that are just the guy that week. It's Bocons and JT one game, and now it's Evans and Faison. Now it's Greathouse and Raritan or something. Jaden Harrison is. Do you think the Notre Dame staff is sitting back here and be like, "Damn it, why didn't we play him more?"
Well, I for one didn't think you'd get anything out of him. I mean, I had 0 expectations from him. Love the way he moves. Tyreek Hill light, poor man's Tyreek Hill.
Pilney, thank you for the super chat a lot.
But when you watch, and this is, just being a jerk, when you watch Harrison go up in those slow-mo, like those, he doesn't have natural hands. I mean, that he fights that ball a little bit, and you could see a little bit of that in spring ball, but like a couple of those balls, it's not a natural catch. Like his hands are at different levels. So I don't know how like reliable he would be, but he can get open and he's got a little juice to him for sure.
Yeah.
One other thought on that Faison, because we try to go to Faison deep, kind of a jump ball scenario. Me and pigeon feet and bow legs, Singer. It's been a while. Skinny ankles, all that stuff. So as Faison's running down the right side of the field, he's got to stick that right foot in the ground to kind of elevate. If you just imagine a dunk contest, you kind of put the energy into the ground. So he's jumping off of his bad ankle. So he got very little lift. It just would have been interested if he could have planted off his left ankle if he would have got enough elevation to go snatch that ball. But
you want to go quick hitter through some comments, Mike?
All right.
Quick hitting.
Sure.
J. Carr said, in terms of the blend between an athlete and true quarterback, we have too much athlete, not enough true QB play. I think this is kind of where I land on Riley, but I still love him. I love watching him play. I'll take Riley over Hartman, who was there was true QB play.
Hey, he was at the game, Mike. Did you see?
Oh, Goolsby, I have that queued up. You want to talk about him too? You want to talk about that jacket? I mean, look at him.
Never miss an opportunity, man. There's some endorsement deal on the jacket. Like, go get it, Sam.
I still think I know is he still in the Commanders?
I think he's on the practice squad. I think
I bet you he's still in South Bend, still going to practices, and he just flies to Maryland for practices and just comes back. I feel like he's just never left. Mike.
He lives in the stadium.
He lives in the stadium. He's just his 4 months playing with the team. I know it was longer, but recruits are taking pictures with him, Mike. Like Auburn. You go to Auburn, you take a picture with Cam Newton. Notre Dame, it's Sam Hartman, and it's like a big deal. The recruits are like, "Oh my God, Sam Hartman!" The fuck? I don't know, bro. I don't know.
No, I mean he's nothing derails my state of mind like looking at Sam Hartman. But to your point, Ian Book's there, Sam Hartman's there. Ian Book, career leader, this and that, was here forever. Fought a lot of battles, won us a lot of games. It's like people would rather take pictures with Sam Hartman. It's unbelievable.
All right, moving along. Adam B said when it's 3rd and 10 or more, they can't convert. This is a big problem.
It's a problem.
This is a huge problem because when Notre Dame's playing Virginia, they're getting behind the sticks, right? When you're going to play one of these playoff teams, I don't care if it is an Indiana or a Boise, that's going to happen there too. And they can't do anything. And then these teams are going to crowd the box. It's going to be tougher to run. You already said they removed the quarterback power, right? These teams are taking that away from the Irish. I need some good blocking and some heroics by the backs, I guess, and Leonard to scramble.
It's an issue because, like I said, Riley hasn't been comfortable throwing in the middle of the field. And Florida State, it was bad, dude. It was bad. So this year, this week, it's like, hey, we're going to kind of make him throw in the middle of the field. The only throw that Riley is comfortable with is the slot fade in terms of okay, so we're going to take that away on film. But if you want to run the ball, forget the Tommy Reese, Jared Parker, 12, 13 personnel. Because yes, Mike, they are going to crowd the box. You've got to spread people out. You've got to give Price and Love room. So move the bodies out. Move the bodies out to give them a clearer picture. That's the only way it's going to work. But yes, the 3rd and longs, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we don't have dudes that have enough speed to get there now. And Riley's not accurate on the run. I think his footwork was bad this week. I forget the throw that he made. It was a lot of check downs, a lot of thoughts here, Singer.
Yeah.
Hitting my groove 40 minutes into this thing. If we're going to check the darn ball down so much, put Price or Love in there that can make some magic happen. We all love Aeneas Williams, tough guy, all the things, right? All the things. But it's okay, if we're going to go check down in the passing game, Love can house that thing. A Price can house that thing. Just something to think about because he's not in there to pass protect clearly unless he's, scan and then he's going to leak out late. So if he's your 3rd down guy to pass protect, why wouldn't you put a better athlete in there to go out in a route? So there's some of these things that don't make sense.
Were you saying, because you said this a couple times, and I have the PFF numbers for it. So was it FSU? Denbrock tried to force him to throw more in the middle, or was it the Virginia game?
Virginia.
Okay. Between the numbers, past 10 yards, 3 times he threw the ball. 12 times between 0 to 10 yards. That same against FSU. 5 times between the numbers he threw it between 0 and 10 yards, and then 7 10 yards and more. 1 for 7.
So you're telling me he threw the ball.
Right, I'll show you here.
Via PFF,
you can see
the ball between. God, I hate PFF.
Here, I'll zoom in for you. So this is 0 to 10 yards. This is the FSU game, 3 of 5, 47 yards, and then 10 yards and longer, 1 for 7 for 22 yards against FSU. And then here's Virginia.
Okay.
11 for 12 between the numbers. You got to think the numbers, that's a huge, right? That interception to Bo is between the numbers.
Are we talking numbers? We talking hash?
It says between numbers.
So I'm talking more hash, but that's okay.
Yeah. So 12 times.
I think the point still stands, but
Yeah,
now a lot
yeah.
of those are checkdowns.
Right. It's
if
just
you told
alarming.
me-
This is crazy, Mike. 3 times. The numbers, that's huge. That's so much of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw it 3 times past 10 yards between the numbers. I know the TD, there's a touchdown called back, so this isn't a perfect system.
I'm just saying it's a thing. And if you told me that he tried to push the ball 10 yards beyond 6 times against Florida State, and I'm talking hashes, not between the numbers. That's stupid. It should be hashes.
Yeah, I agree.
I would bet my life he didn't throw the ball 6 times between the hashes against Florida State. Now, numbers is a different thing, right? You're bringing a lot more real estate into the picture, but it is a thing.
Right.
The only balls that he's comfortable throwing is the slot fade.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to some of these comments because I like some of these. Andy Packrat said, screw it, get to the playoffs and switch to a triple option. Thoughts? We got a backwards hat kind of guy here.
Whatever wins, man.
Whatever wins. John said, let's not forget the perfect pass he threw to Harrison that got called back for holding. Yeah, no doubt. Harrison looks good. I hope that he gets some more play because he can make things happen. James said, how about the great Brian Kelly? 4 lost LSU team over there in Baton Rouge, Mike.
Guys made a lot of money.
And John said, it was great to see Love go for 137. 16 for 137, 2 touchdowns. Price, 6 for 44. Leonard, 8 rushes, 32 yards. Definitely not as much in the designed run game. Thoughts on the Price, man? 6 touches? You know, he's gone double-digit touches once this season. It was against Stanford, a 49-7 game. Jadarian Price.
They're both great. Always said I preferred Love, but Price the last 3 weeks he's been running like hard, dude.
I was gonna say, 100%.
Not so much like we think. Okay, he's running hard. You think physical? I mean, I think this is the most physical you've seen. Love play. You know, the one play later in the game where it was a short yardage scenario. He puts his head down and he kind of trips over himself, and then he just sat on the field. He was kind of frustrated that he couldn't keep his feet. But there's something about Price's tempo as a runner where there's a much greater sense of urgency the last 3 weeks specifically, and it really jumps off the screen. So
this is new. Andy Staples from On 3. This just got out there.
My favorite.
Are you being facetious?
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic.
But Notre Dame and the 8-9 hosting Penn State. This would be glorious. This would be glorious. It's funny how we're still, 2 weeks and then the conference championship games, and we know exactly who's going to be in this. Pretty much, I don't know. There's a lot of football that can be played, but oh yeah, Indiana can still lose, but they'll still get in. That's just a new thing to BYU lost against Kansas. That's okay. They can still get in. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't like it.
Put that up. I don't care who plays who, right? This is all just speculative until the number, until it's stamped. Here's the bracket.
Yeah, I think this is
Penn State doesn't scare me. Ohio State doesn't scare me. Colorado doesn't scare me. Ohio State does to a degree. Boise State, nope. Indiana, nope. Georgia, yes. Miami, no. Bama, no. Tennessee, no. Ole Miss, I need to watch more of them. So there's only 3 or 4 of those teams, and this is with this clunky ass offense, Singer. 45 minutes in, we haven't even talked about the defense. we're number 2 in the country in terms of turnover margin. Like, we're playing okay, man. We're playing okay, but there's only a couple teams on that thing. Georgia scares me, and their quarterback, it seems like he got his groove back last night. Ohio State scares you just because of the overall talent.
Yeah. Georgia going from outside to the number 6 seed would be quite the jump, because they were on the outside looking in, I want to say. Yeah, they were. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how accurate Andy is. Jay Carr is complaining in the chat. I mean, Jay Carr, it's a projection. Like, this is fodder, and thing got tweeted out 6 minutes ago. It's already got 10,000 views on Twitter. I mean, like, yes, okay, whatever. West Palm Pat, $10 super chat, says the suggestion about running an option offense is not that far off. Riley Leonard is an option quarterback. Reminds me of Carlisle Hallday, great athlete, elite runner, mediocre thrower. They kind of look alike too.
Probably not going to happen. I mean, you've seen elements of like speed option in this, quarterback read RPO at times can kind of look option-y ish depending on where his outlet is, but it's not going to happen. Carlisle's probably, again, we were captains together. One of the finer athletes I've ever been around, Singer, but he got put into a West Coast kind of timing offense, and it's just not who he was. He's an athlete. So
West Palm Pat, appreciate the $10 super chat. All right, I'm going to play a video, and we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
I love this new version of Marcus Freeman on the sidelines. We all love it. Give him hell, Marcus. That's right.
Absolutely.
Dude, look at the double fist.
Love it. Give him hell,
1,
Marcus.
2.
That's right.
This is not the old players coach. I want to put my arm around everybody. Let's win all the press conferences. This guy, let me pull up a picture real quick. Look at this man. I love it. What do you think about this animated Marcus Freeman? He's not worried about winning the pressers. He's just ball coach Marcus Freeman. Is it too
long to say that, like, I'm proud of him? Is that like, I mean, I'm nobody in the grand scheme of things, but like, I'm absolutely proud of Marcus Freeman and like his development. And we talked about it last week. He's got double bags under his eyes. He's burning the midnight oil, stressing about this team. Dude, he's not as big as he was either. I'm telling you, could say he's not spending as many hours in the gym. Like, I'm proud of him, man. I'm really proud of him. I think that look back after that NIU loss in the lack of preparation or some of the things he was doing needlessly, I'm super proud of him. I can't wait to see how this 2025 class turns out either. That's something else I'm really you didn't take no for an answer on some of these kids saying like, we're still in the fight with, and better than me, right? But I'm really excited to see how that shapes up.
John, thanks for the $2 super chat. He says you think Riley can accurately pitch the ball. Michael Ryan, $5 super chat. Commentators had a lot to say about Golden this week. Do you think Freeman still has a say with the defense, or is it all Golden on the show? Thank you, Michael. What do you think?
I think love Al Golden. I love his intensity on the sidelines too, like pushing up the glasses, chewing. Like, he's very intense, completely dialed in on the sidelines. I love that. But I think that Golden maybe gets a little bit too much shine, and maybe does it detract from the players? Because I could tell you, as somebody that watches the defensive film, I'm going to do it shortly here. Watch the all 22, the coach's copy. Golden cannot do what he does without those corners. End of story. So if you're going to give Golden all the credit in the world, as he, deservedly so, you better dap up Benjamin Morrison and Leonard Moore and Christian Gray. And Leonard Moore, by the way, is going to end up being better than Christian Gray. He's a better mover.
Dude, a true freshman summer enrollee, Leonard Moore.
Yeah.
That we don't talk about that enough. We're not talking about Leonard Moore enough. The fact that Notre Dame
Thank
loses
you.
Ben Morrison
Cooked,
and
Singer.
even Jaden Mickey. And look, I know it was the run-of-the-mill ACC teams these past few weeks, but still, damn. I mean, give Ben Morrison his flowers. Incredible. I think I've gone through this exact rant, right? Referencing your tweet where you're like, praise Ben Morrison for everything he's done here. Don't mean to disrespect, but it's like, damn, he's out. And Leonard Moore is just as good. Or he's been just as good. It's incredible.
So he's the mastermind. I'm just telling you, it's man, the emotion, the safeties kind of yo-yo, and it's just depending on the linebackers that are in the game, where we blitzing them from. You know, you'll have a safety kind of come down and play robber. I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you, Singer, it's not that complicated. Not throwing any shade at Golden. It's because of the athletes. It's because of the recruiting. It just is. It's because of Kurt Hinish playing his freaking balls off, dude.
Donovan.
You know what I'm saying?
Old Donnie Hinish, yeah.
Old Donnie Hinish, and he is a tiny little guy, man. And also another thing about the defense, Jack Kaiser totally slept on, guilty over here, guilty. It's like Drake Bowen makes one big hit and everybody crowns him to be the next, Brian Urlacher or whatever. Kaiser's playing his tail off. On that end of that game, I tweeted something about it. Running back goes to cut him. Whether it's Planet of the Apes or like one of these movies where somebody's running on their hands and feet, like think X-Men or something. He literally hurdled that running back, like landed on his hands, like Beast from X-Men or something. It was like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, that
not
was
an easy
impressive.
thing to do. That was
impressive.
sick.
Oben had a nice game.
Oben did have a nice game. PFF, he's a Hall of Famer. He's like 90 plus. Yeah, he made 2 plays. He made 2 tackles for loss.
He got credited with a half of a tackle for loss. So
2 plays, whatever. Maybe the first one wasn't a quite TFL. But yeah.
Mike, you had jotted down trick plays and what does that mean? Yes, thank you. I didn't go to Notre Dame.
That's right.
Indicative of what, Mike?
I just sent Singer a quick note. Trick plays are indicative of how good the defense is. This is 2 weeks in a row. It's like you see these offenses just emptying out. Like they're trying to get anything to go. So like flea flickers, all this kind of stuff, double reverse screen passes. Like it's indicative of, and I played for like a dominant team in high school. And it was like, teams would try anything just to get some sort of momentum. So it's just really telling.
Something I wanted to ask you. Oh,
I don't know, Mike.
Some of the play or the refereeing decisions. I'm shocked people aren't blowing us up in the chat to talk about it, like the whole the phase on punt thing, or any of the other ACC refereeing stuff from Saturday that you had. Do you have any opinions on that stuff?
Got to get better. I think it's bad across the board. I don't know if you saw like the Nebraska USC game. They try to throw a jump ball. I mean, dude, the UFC receivers like DB's got it's bad. Officiating's bad. And like with the playoff and all the money going around, dude. I mean, there's tinfoil hat element to some of this stuff. Not to say it's like, but it's bad. Like they don't know the rules.
Refereeing is terrible in sports, man. And I think part of it's due to all the replays and all the angles and the slow motion but
for sure.
It's still bad. And
I missed
in a lot of sports.
I'm older than you, right? But like growing up, you'd watch, like, remember Mitch Evans's non-catch last week? Freaking awesome play. 25 years ago, that'd have been a catch.
Sure.
Because you wouldn't have that 4K camera, shooting from the pylon. Or like, I miss those days sometimes. But the refs got to know the rules.
Yeah. Speaking of 4K, your boy just got a new TV. I'm really excited to go put it up. I don't know if it's going to fit on my TV stand, so we'll see about that.
Just hide the cord.
Yeah. VAR is killing soccer. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad in the Premier League and in Europe and anyways. But closing thoughts, Mike. Wrapping up the show.
Well, I don't think we spent enough time on the defense. This is what I'll tell you. I think Riley Leonard's going to look lights out against the lesser athletes from Army. I just do. It's going to be similar to Navy. We're going to think it's a revelation rather. But defense continues to get better and better. So weak spots of the team, I don't know what's going to become of that passing offense, but I do love.
Wait. What do you mean you don't know what's going to become of it? I mean, we kind of already know. I mean, is it going to get better or worse?
Denbrock hasn't thrown in the towel in terms of like trying to develop some sort of an explosive passing offense. Dude, to your point about like Jaden Harrison, so it's like you tried to feature Bo. We've tried to feature Mitch. We've tried to feature Greathouse, who's hurt now, a little bit nicked up. You've tried to feature Faison, who's had some drops. Now we're getting Colsey into blocking. I'm telling you, man, he's trying different stuff on. We saw, was it against FSU? You had Love running option routes, out of the backfield.
Sorry. GCJ says, picture Hartman in 2045, all chubby and crusty, still doing photo ops at Notre Dame games like an old 80s rock star trying to be relevant. And John said, with perfect hair. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought that was so funny. I'm sorry.
No, it's true about Sam Hartman. People wouldn't look at him the same, literally, if he wasn't so good looking. He was an average quarterback for us. But he's a star because of his looks. Imagine if we were two hot chicks, Singer. Like if you and I were hot chicks and we had like, tell me we wouldn't get more views. It's just the way the world is.
I think you're a hot chick, Mike.
Anyways, that's all I really got, dude.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Good show, Mike. It was fun. I think we talked too much about the defense. We need to talk more about Sam Hartman. That's just me. Maybe we can go another half hour. Sam Hartman talk? I'm kidding.
I'll pass.
All right. Well, appreciate everyone for watching. If you have not done so yet, please hit the thumbs up on this video. I mean, you guys support us just by watching the show. Do the next step. Hit the thumbs up. That'd be great. Subscribe, of course, to the channel if you have not done so yet. Head over to blueandgold.com. Much more Notre Dame football and recruiting coverage over on the website. Goolsby's Patreon. He's going to be doing the All-22. It's linked in his Twitter bio, which is at Mike Goolsby 41. So check that out there. Appreciate you guys for watching. And as always, we will catch you next time. The Army game, the Goolsby Show, is either going to be on Monday or we're going to have Goolsby join up with Hyde on Tuesday, and me and Hyde on Tuesday because I'm out next Sunday. So we will let you guys know. I'll tweet about it next week. But yeah, no Goolsby Show next Sunday on the 24th. Appreciate you all. And as always, we will catch you next time.